Good morning everybody, welcome to the oven. It's so hot, so hot. Right, this is just, I'm doing a lot of work with class that I can't show on my blog, and this is something I'm stitching when I'm not doing classwork because it's important to me to feed my blog. Now this is going to be a little pouch or a pocket, and I tend not to plan these. The only thing I plan is how it's going to be folded when it's finished. So this is just pink gingham, so this will be folded there. And that's the seam allowance. Obviously there's a seam allowance top and bottom, and then it'll be folded this way as well, like that. I don't tend to fold them in the middle. I'm not a middle person. So that's how it will be, and the opening will be here. Okay. I tend to keep in here things like lace and small things that I need to know where they are and to keep them safe. So as for the surface embroidery, I don't plan that really. I started with a grandmother's flower garden. And then I decided I wanted to do regularly spaced groups of French knots. So that's where I am. So I've marked, you probably can't see, I've marked equidistant places for French knots. So I'm just going to do a couple of French knots with you today, but then over here, I don't know if I might fit a flower garden there. And then on the back, it'll be more of the same. Now it might be that I decide to embroider this as a whole. I've got a mark there, that's where the fold's going to be there. So if I mark the same on the other side, then I can just embellish the whole piece and then fold it, being aware of where the fold lines are, if that makes sense. So I will mark one over here, I think, and then just work this as a full piece. And then I can mark off these places for the French knots, equidistant across the whole piece, in theory. But I'm not very good at maths, but I'll do my best. So what I'm going to do this morning, I wanted to explain that to you, and just do a few French knots. Now, so for example, down here, where I marked equidistant, this is well, to get 4 in there, I think it will come to a point where I can only get maybe 1 peeping out of the edge from the hexagons and things. But I've got markings there, and there, and there, and there, and there, so far. That's all I've got so far, okay. Just little dots of pencil. So if I just do, and I wanted to tell you about this thread. I mean, absolutely love this thread. I mean, I work a lot with white, as you probably know, but this thread, I just adore it. It's DMC Coloris thread, and it's shade 4502, and it's variegated. Coloris is spelled C-O-L-O-R-I-S, and it's just beautiful. 4502. So you can see the variations here in the colours when you're stitching. Let me pull them. Hopefully you can see here. So there's little pale blues and pinks and like lime greens. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. Absolutely love it. So if I just do a few French knots in here, so I'm not really counting. I think there's maybe 7 in each square, but that's just a guess because I haven't been consciously counting. I've just been doing them until they look as if there's enough in there to like embellish that little square. And gingham, absolutely, gingham is the perfect thing to embroider on because all your lines are set. It's virtually impossible to make a mess of a straight line when you're using gingham. It's already all marked out for you. For example, hang on, I'll do these, I'll take it out of the hoop and I'll show you what I mean. So that's 4 in there. So if I do 5, I am thinking there's probably 7 in them. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in that one. 3, 5, 7 in that one. So I'm just randomly doing them until I'm satisfied there's enough in there. Without, I mean, I do this without thinking. I just sit and stitch French knots, and I don't tend not to count. I just make sure the hole looks adequately filled, the space I should say. So, excuse me. So, and then I will move to that one. I tend not to like dragging my thread across the back of my work, but that isn't too far. That's like less than ½ an inch. If it was more than that, I would probably finish off and start again, fasten off at the back and start again, because I'm not a big fan of dragging my thread across the back of the work. So that's 2. But yeah, gingham. If you're nervous about straight lines and even patterning, buy yourself some gingham. It's ideal. I'm counting now, and I wasn't counting before, so I'm a bit annoyed with myself for counting. But when I'm doing this on my own and I'm in front of the TV, I won't be counting. I'll just be doing it until I think it's adequately stitched. Okay, so I'll do one more in there, and then I'll bring it through to the front for the next one. I'll put that in there. So it also helps. So this Grandmother's Flower Garden, I lined the first one up with the gingham line. Okay, so it just makes life so much easier when you use gingham. So there, just a few French knots and a quick hello, and this thread, absolutely beautiful. Okay, have a nice Sunday.